Building a strong defensive core for the start of the season is becoming more and more important with each season. Wasting a transfer early on a defender never seems to be a good option because you're missing on a player that's coming into form or someone you missed in preseason, like a midfielder or forward. So going for a defender, it's never the best decision. Some of you from the start may go big at the back and just set and forget the defenders. Others may sack off the defense completely and pick 4.5 defenders just to have someone in their team. Me, on the other hand, I like to play somewhere in the middle. I want to have an expensive defenders and cheap defenders. So today I'm focusing on a third defender, which will be a rotating defender in my team because I want to attack the fixtures as much as possible and have a fourth defender that will rotate with this third defender very good. I made some research and I found four perfectly fine doubles that will be rotating without any red fixture in the front. You'll be focusing on home fixtures. You just have to pick one of these four combination of teams and put a defender from their team. I'm not going into specifics because the prices are not out yet, but even if they come out, picking a cheapest good defender from this team with pairing with another team from that combination will be perfectly fine for you. Let's write down in the comment section what type of defense you build for game week 1. Are you going big at the back with set and forget, or you are sucking up the defenders, or your mid defensive part? Just write down in the comment section what your style of playing is. If you enjoyed the video, as always, subscribe to the channel, give a like to the video, and now let's see the first pair. Starting with my least favorite one from the four, Aston Villa and West Ham. These teams seem to be having a very bad start of the season fixture-wise, but they're seeming to be rotating perfectly fine. The worry here is that they may not be able to find a good form to go into these bad games, but they're must-wins for them, especially for West Ham. As you can see, Bournemouth and Luton are must-win games, even though they are away, while they have a game against Chelsea, Brighton, Manchester City and Liverpool in the first 6 fixtures. So finding a defender here from West Ham that's going to bring you a lot of points and that's nailed will be hard. Maybe Aguet or Zuma will be the best options here, but if Declan Rice leaves, and most probably he will be leaving, I don't seem to like West Ham defenders as much, but on the other hand, I enjoy Aston Villa defenders a lot and Aston Villa as a whole because they're a pretty solid team under Unai Emery, and despite having a game against Newcastle at the start and then a Liverpool and Chelsea fixtures, I believe that they will improve massively. They bought Pau Torres, who improved their defensive very, very much. He's a very strong Spanish defender, and they have an away fixture against Newcastle at the start. So maybe you put Zuma or Aguet there for the start, and then you can go against Everton and Burnley and Crystal Palace in the next 4 fixtures. 3 of them will be picking an Aston Villa defender, and only in the game against Liverpool you put a West Ham defender back for a game against Luton. But yeah, 6th game week is a hard game for both of their teams. They're away to Chelsea and Liverpool respectively. I'll be picking an Aston Villa defender if I chose to go with this combination. Everything depends on prices. If I can find both starting players for 4.5 and I don't seem to find any other pairing, I very much don't think so. But if I don't find it, I'll be picking a 4.5 defenders from these teams. But wait a bit and see a better defensive pairs in the next sections, because those two right now are not looking exactly perfect, but they're rotating perfectly. So if you want to be a little more differential, go for players from these teams. But now let's go to the really better ones and see where you can surely invest your money without taking so much risk and not going so much differential from the start. Next up, we are talking about Burnley and Crystal Palace. Both teams will be having a pretty similar start of the season. Burnley are newly promoted side and they will be having a pretty rough fixture start to say, but they're already in preseason and Vincent Company is cooking something special there. So picking a player from Burnley may seem a very, very good option for the start. Their defenders, I don't believe they will be priced over 4.5, sorry, even not 5.0. So going for the best one there will be a good option. They were not as good as defensively when they had Ben Mee and Tarkovsky previous years in the Prem, but now they'll be coming fresh and young and hungry for Prem football. So they may even join some attacking fullbacks for their team and pick some good options. So having a Burnley player may seem a very good option for the start. They have hard games against Manchester City, Aston Villa, Tottenham, and Manchester United. But what can you do after that is coming very better than for them. But yeah, for the start, just put a Burnley player on the bench and put a Crystal Palace player because they have games against Sheffield, Wolves, and Fulham in those space of time when they have the hard games. And in game week 3, you can go for a Crystal Palace player because without Ivan Toney, Brentford will not be as strong offensively as they were used to be last season. Crystal Palace don't have a manager appointed yet, which is a little bit worrying, but a player like Margay won't be bothered by that. And with the price of 4.5 coming, in my opinion, he'll be a very viable option for the start. So here you'll find cheap players for sure for both of their teams, not like the previous one where Aston Villa defenders may go a little bit higher on price because they were good last season. Here I believe their best defenders will be 4.5 and you'll be having a few days of picking a player and starting strongly and not having a red or even slightly red fixture without rotating them players will be very good. I like this pairing. It's risky, but it's high risk, high reward. But it's not going to cost you a lot because it's only your one defender from the game, and you may find a good option there for a similar price. But having a rotating player and being active in the game helps you remember putting your effort into playing the game, which will help you finish the whole season. Because when I was picking big at the back for my previous years, I was just putting my team and I was going into game week 6 without any changes. Now in the previous seasons, I was rotating players, and this helped me focus on my watching Premier League football because seeing who is better, and this will help you a lot massively, I promise you. But this high risk, high reward for very low price. So this may seem risky, but it's not risky. It's your third defender only. And if you don't like it, you can just stick with Crystal Palace defender because games against Brentford and Aston Villa are not as hard as it seems. Only just replace them for Arsenal at second fixture, and then you can go with the rest of the 4 fixtures with a Crystal Palace defender if you don't seem to like Burnley. But yeah, Burnley Crystal Palace rotate pretty good in the first 6 game weeks. Next up is my favorite rotating pair, but we may have a little problem here. I believe that Newcastle defenders will be priced 5.0 and above, especially Trippier, who is on the screen right now. But going for a cheap defender, for example Botman, I believe Botman will be their cheapest. Or if they buy a new left back that will be nailed, maybe he will be the cheapest, but I believe Botman will be the cheapest, even though they are having a pretty rough patch for the start. Aston Villa, City, Liverpool, and Brighton. You can just put a Newcastle defender for the first fixture when a Brentford team is having Spurs, but then the next 3 fixtures against Fulham, Crystal Palace, and Bournemouth are pretty good for Brentford. Then it's a home game for Newcastle against Brentford and away game against Sheffield. You can choose whoever you like here. Brentford defense was pretty good. If they don't sell Raya and if they sell him, they have a new goalkeeper that can replace him, and this goalkeeper was playing pretty well in the Bundesliga last season. So picking someone like Ben Mee or Pinnock or Henry or someone like that would be a very viable option. As I said, this is my favorite pair. If Newcastle defenders are coming at around 5.0, I may miss picking a defender from this team because having a 5.0 player on my bench seems harsh. But if for some miracle Botman is 4.5, he may be 100% into my team with, let's say, Ben Mee. The two of them will be rotating perfectly. I'll be picking them, attacking home fixtures in the first game week. Then it's a Fulham away. If I don't see Fulham scoring a lot of goals, and even if they did, it's nothing to be sad about. Then Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, Brentford, and Sheffield in the next 4 fixtures will be a perfectly fine green stretch of fixture for your third defender, and here you get a lot more points than you expect. I don't think that many of you would agree with me with this because Newcastle defender will be a lot more expensive than last season, but their form from last season and their defensive record show that they can be a strong team. And having such a strong team in your back pocket for a third defender will free you to go with two more expensive defenders for the first and second position, and that will be very, very good. Even if you want to have a four defenders playing, you can play in game week 6 both of them and have someone with a back fixture in game week 6. So there are a lot of options here. Let's see what prices Brighton and Chelsea defenders will come out, because if Brighton came out with good prices and around 5.0 for Estupinian, maybe they will become better than Newcastle defenders, because Estupinian is better than Botman in FPL. But let's focus now on the rotating pairs. For me, those two are rotating perfectly fine, and I don't see any issue with them. Last but not least is Fulham against Everton. Here, there is a special pairing here, and I will tell you why. If Patterson is a starter and he's 4.0 again, he's a must pick in my opinion for your team. And if you can have a rotating player for 4.0, it will be pretty good, because you can invest 5.0 for a defender there, and you may be able to rotate a little bit better with other defenders. Even Everton defenders rotate pretty well with Newcastle ones, because you can pick Wolves, Aston Villa and Sheffield games against the harder games for Newcastle, and then just suck off your 4.0 defender and having just as an option. But Fulham and Everton rotate perfectly fine. For the start, you can pick whoever you want from Everton and Fulham. I'll be going with a Fulham defender, because Everton attack was pretty bad last season. Then it's a home game for Fulham against Brentford, perfectly fine without Ivan Toney. Then 2 games for Wolves and Sheffield for Everton, and then 2 games against Luton and Crystal Palace for Fulham. Those are perfectly fine rotatable fixtures, and here you can go with a rotating pair for 8.5, which is a 0.5 saving from most of other teams. That's why they're there. Under Sean Dyche, Everton improved defensively massively, and going into a next season with the preseason and having to train together and just integrate more and more tactics will be very beneficial for them. At Everton, I believe they will be having a strong defensive season, and the first 6 game weeks are pretty good for them. Fulham seems to be having a good time as well. They may introduce a new signing, maybe a cheeky wingback for 4.5. We'll have to see, but those defensive pairs seem pretty valuable to me. Everton Newcastle is, as is mentioned, a very good option as well. Brighton rotate good with Newcastle defenders as well, because Brighton are having a good starting opportunities. So I'll see how I'm going to approach this season. Maybe I will find a 3 defenders and I set them and forget them and just pick someone to fill in the blanks whenever I have to, because there were several good defenders. But if they're expensive like hell, if Estupinian is 6 million, I'm not picking Estupinian. But let's focus on the cheap defenders. I believe those cheap pairings will be very beneficial for you. Newcastle and Brentford is my favorite. Write down in the comment who is your favorite pairing of the bunch. If I missed some of the pairings, if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel. All of your help is much appreciated. Give a like to the video, and I hope to see you next time with more preseason videos. But for now, guys, I will be heading out. Bye!